Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm excited to be here today before you all to update you on the important initiatives our city has been working on and the highlights of new developments you'll see in the weeks ahead. This is my 7th State of the City address, and I appreciate you taking the time to be here for it. I also appreciate my council colleagues for their continued support. We have a great team in Burnaby. And I would like to recognize each and every councillor because we provide a very stable platform for what we're trying to do. And each and every councillor really tries to do their best to look out for all residents of Burnaby. So I'd like them to stand up and be recognized. Councillor Pietro Calandino, Councillor Sav Dollawall, Councillor Alison Gu, Councillor Joe Keithley, Councillor Richard T. Lee, Daniel Tatro, and James Wang. Maita Santiago would have been with us today, but she has a bit of a family emergency, so unable to be here. So, keeping with the spirit of adapting to change, I've got somewhat a different approach for you this year. As you can see, I'm standing here, and I hope you'll leave inspired. And I hope you'll leave inspired and, see what Burnaby is all about today and reminded that in these uncertain times, we are all in this. And I think this is so important to remember. We are all in this together now. There's a lot of things we must do together. But before I begin, I too would like to acknowledge that the city of Burnaby is located on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coquitlam peoples. Each nation has a distinct history and distinct traditional territories that fully or partially encompass the city. We encourage everyone to learn more about the host nations whose ancestors have occupied and used these lands, including parts of present-day Burnaby, for thousands of years. I'm personally grateful, as I'm sure you all are, to be able to live and work on these great lands. As an aside, I'm also happy to be here today as the mayor of Burnaby, this beautiful city, and not as the chair of Metro Vancouver. We can save that discussion for another day or another month, and I'm happy to have those discussions. But I want to thank the Burnaby Board of Trade and its staff for organizing today's event. Organizing this sold-out crowd is not an easy task, so let's hear a big round of applause for all Burnaby Board of Trade. I've also been assured that everything being served here today is made in Canada and that this event supports our local economy and our businesses. Bravo to the Board of Trade for that. And since we're in a celebratory mood, I'd like to kick things off with a shout out to a Burnaby success story. This company is called Cardium. Cardium has developed a groundbreaking solution to deal with atrial fibrillation, the most common heart rhythm disorder affecting more than 500 million people. Cardium has developed a system that they call the Globe system, which is considered one of the most advanced treatments for atrial fibrillation in the world. They employ more than 400 people and are now upscaling their operation up in manufacturing and production facilities right here in Burnaby. I've toured their place, and they're an amazing group with employees from all over the world. I think they have flags for each country where people come there to work, and I think there's over 100 countries that their staff all come from. So it's an incredible organization. They will receive regulatory approval and the commercial launch of their product later this year, and we look forward to hearing more and more about their continued success. But this is just one story of a Burnaby success, and I'm looking forward to so many more. Now that's a good lead-in to the message I want to start with today. We can all agree, I think, we're experiencing change at a speed and scope like never before. It can be a struggle to keep up with the political, social, and economic turmoil that's coming at us every day, even every hour, it seems, right now. The state of our economy now hinges on the emotional temperature of presidential posts on an obscure social media platform. Not to mention the security of our national sovereignty. Who would ever have thought that that could happen? Here at home, we've got a brand new federal government, a minority government that will continue to keep us on our toes, and we need to overcome their own set of challenges, from the uncertain economy, affordability, and dealing with provinces and municipalities, including Burnaby. And that's why it's so important for our voice to be heard. Provincially, our most recent election brought about a massive realignment of the BC political landscape. And the provincial government, of course, is facing its own challenges, fiscal and otherwise. Now, that all might sound a bit gloomy, but challenging times are also a good opportunity to step back and reflect, to re-strategize and invest, and to take stock of the advantages we can lean on as we rise to those challenges and navigate. Let me reiterate, this is the time to reflect, invest responsibly, and navigate together. We've been doing a fair bit of that kind of reflection at the city over the last few months. And I'm sure many of you have been doing the same in your businesses and organizations. And one of the outcomes is that a new community awareness campaign, and I'm so pleased to launch here today. You might want to get your phones out for this one. Would you please turn your attentions to the screens?
You may have heard, Burnaby is a pretty great place to be, and the city of Burnaby is working to make it even better. Burnaby is the third largest city in the Lower Mainland, but when you live or work here, it feels like number one. Getting around Burnaby is efficient. Our public transportation network is thoughtfully planned around existing neighborhoods and access to services to make life a little easier. Burnaby has diverse neighborhoods and housing types. New housing is designed to support future growth and improve affordability. We're focused on attracting and keeping people in our communities where they can thrive. Have you seen the plans for Burnaby's new community centers? Construction is underway, and the new facilities will greatly increase Burnaby's capacity for fun, recreation, and programming. Stay tuned. There's no shortage of entertainment in Burnaby. Enjoy free events running year-round, bringing arts, music, and culture to life. Burnaby is also building a new performing arts center that will include a 364-seat theater, art studios, and more. Burnaby's collective brain power is big, like really big. In fact, we have 16 of BC's top employers located here. There are good jobs to be had in Burnaby in many leading sectors. The range of companies is diverse, just like our community. Did you know that a quarter of Burnaby's land is dedicated to parks? That adds up to 6 times the size of Stanley Park. We have tons of parks to explore. How many can you name? You may be getting the idea. Burnaby has it all. We're making sure our city is ready for the future and continuing to invest in people, infrastructure, and services that support an outstanding quality of life. In short, we're making Burnaby the best it can be for everyone. Be you. Be here. Be Burnaby.
Wasn't that great? The video is a key component of a broader campaign that you will see rolling out digitally and through the city advertising in the months ahead. We're calling it the BBurnaby campaign. This campaign will highlight our unique qualities as a city, the ongoing improvements happening in Burnaby, and our continued commitment to building a vibrant and inclusive community. It will also help us to establish a clear and more compelling brand for Burnaby. It's a bit like the path of my middle son, Niall. Like a lot of middle children, I think he sometimes struggled to stake out his own identity, avoid comparison to his older and younger siblings, and to step out of their shadow. It can also be said, Burnaby is a kind of a municipal middle child. It's neither the largest nor the smallest municipality in Metro Vancouver, nor does it attract the most media attention, although I would suggest that's likely a good thing in today's day and age. And just like my middle child, Burnaby too has its own identity. And Burnaby has so many attributes and advantages which I can tell you are the envy of many other Canadian municipalities. With this awareness campaign starting today, we are going to lay claim to every good attribute that we can think of. I'll come back to some of those high-level advantages a little further into my remarks, but first I'd like to report on some of Burnaby's priorities and achievements over the last year. Housing, of course, remains a top-of-the-mind issue at City Hall, and for too many people in Burnaby and Metro Vancouver, it remains a day-to-day struggle and a source of tremendous stress. We currently face not just economic headwinds, but disruptive provincial legislative changes, and we are still assessing the full impact of those on housing. Nevertheless, we continue to process large numbers of building permits in Burnaby. In each of the last 2 years, we posted roughly $1.8 billion in permits. $1.8 billion in permits. Think of that number, which is the second largest annual volume in city history. And we have made great strides in speeding up our development, the development permit processing time, with wait time reductions of up to 85% for single and two-family dwellings. That is, of course, for applications that meet the bylaws and are complete. So that's the key. Yet we haven't solved the affordability problem, far from it. But I believe we're doing more than our share to work towards a solution. I'm especially proud of our rental use zoning policy, which we have now entrenched in bylaw. It's been rightly called one of the most strongest protections in the country against the scourge of eviction. And we're just beginning to see results. Last year, more than 30 tenants returned to a redeveloped building in Metrotown at the same rent they were paying before they left. And we expect hundreds more residents to do the same in the coming years. Additionally, this spring, our City Lands for Non-Market Housing program enabled residents into more than 300 units of non-market housing. 3 more buildings are under construction as part of this program, with 6 more under review. And in total, more than 9,000 non-market rental units are under construction or on the approval process right now. Housing is one example of an area where we as a municipality are stepping up and doing a lot of the heavy lifting, even when other levels of government should be taking the lead. And there are other examples, a long list I might add. Our intervention support team, for example, attended more than 200 homeless encampments. You'll see them up here, and they do a wonderful job in 2024. And helped connect occupants with permanent housing and essential services. Emergency management, community safety, and childcare are other areas where we have had to step up. We now have 250 licensed childcare spaces on city-owned sites and created roughly the same number in partnership with the Burnaby School District. Now, let's be very clear. I am not pleased with the degree to which we must divert city fund and resources to issues that frankly aren't municipal responsibilities, but also reality. But when the resources that should be there are not, we have no choice but to do what we can because the well-being of our community demands it. And wherever our funds are directed, we are always laser focused on getting the biggest impact for every city dollar spent. Transportation is another priority for me and your council. And we know that Burnaby is very well served by the regional network of roads and transit lines. That's a big part of our competitive advantage and a reason why people move here and locate their businesses here. But we also need to look at transportation very much through an inside Burnaby lens, focusing not just on how people can efficiently get in and out of the city, but how we can connect and strengthen the communities within it. In particular, we need to strengthen our north-south connections, as I'm sure everyone in this room understands. We are making some important investments to achieve this, and you've just heard about one of them. The ongoing work on the Hold'em Overpass, an example of connecting our community. We have partnered with the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority to replace the Douglas Road rail crossing so that instead of an access barrier, we'll have safe and efficient community connectivity. Various investments in support of biking and other types of active and micro-transportation are also part of this strategy. There's a great deal more I could touch on, but I'll close out on this discussion of priorities and outcomes for just one more. The now operational Trans Mountain Pipeline Expansion Project. Now, let's be clear, and most of you know this. I didn't want this project to proceed, and we did what we could as a municipality to oppose it. We opposed it for more than a decade, but it has proceeded. And as of last May, as an operation, now it's our responsibility to make the best of that situation. Over the last year, we've been focused on making strategic use of the funding we receive from the Crown Corporation that owns the pipeline. This funding has been used to enhance emergency readiness and community safety. The funds from the agreement will directly support operations of our fire hall and upcoming emergency exercise in the spring of 2027. This emergency exercise is something we must do, and our staff are in the preliminary process with key partners to make this happen. Many, many partners. This is not where I'd hoped we'd be, but it's where our long and complex relationship with the pipeline project has taken us. And I feel confident that we're doing everything we reasonably can to manage the outcome and to safeguard the safety and other interests of all Burnaby residents. So that's a quick rundown on some specifics. Now I'd like to pull the lens back a bit and return to some of the higher level messages that you saw reflected in the video earlier, and that you'll see reinforced throughout the broader awareness campaign that launches today. So what is it about Burnaby that we want residents to be more aware of and to celebrate? What are the things that make this city a truly amazing place to be? 3 themes are top of mind for me. The first being that Burnaby is what you could call a full-service city. Put another way, it's all here and right here in the heart of Metro Vancouver. If you haven't recently, you should take a tour around the city. There are a lot of convenient ways to do it after all. You'll find diverse neighborhoods and housing types suited to all kinds of needs and preferences, and you'll see the outcome of sound urban planning and well-managed density. Burnaby is far more than a bedroom community and offers a lot of opportunities to work close to home. We have got major educational, BCIT and SFU, health centers, industrial zones, a vibrant film industry, and which we will be fighting alongside with, and so much more. All of this means great opportunities, great job opportunities, and I know that all of you in this room today are amongst the drivers of that. You are the smart, innovative, and forward-looking business leaders who help Burnaby be prosperous. When it comes to a thriving business, it is indeed all right here. It's all right here as well in terms of natural beauty and cultural attractions. This is certainly another way that Burnaby stands apart. You can easily go from mountaintop vista to vibrant city streetscapes, to Lakeside Festival sites without setting foot outside of Burnaby. As I always say, it truly is all here. Second, Burnaby is both remarkably diverse and a highly caring and inclusive city. There's no such thing as a demographic majority in the city. And as of the last census, just over 2/3 of our city's population identified as visible minorities. If that term means anything in Burnaby anymore, I'm not sure it even does. And the proportion of immigrants here is well over twice the national average. What our diversity really tells me is people from around the world truly feel welcome and they feel safe in Burnaby. Your city government also has a distinctively strong commitment to the well-being of all residents, including the lower incomes and people with disadvantages. I've touched on some of the key ways in which we're acting on that commitment, including major efforts on housing, security, and stepping up in additional areas like childcare. And as to inclusion, we're continuing to find better ways to give residents and stakeholders a say in the important municipal decisions. We're currently updating our official community plan, OCP. You will see it out there as, for example, with the most interactive and diversity-aligned engagement process ever. It's actually been exhausting for our staff. And we're making it easier for residents to keep up with all of the developments at City Hall through our communications channels. Third and finally, your city government is making significant but carefully planned investments to meet residents' needs and to catch up with recent growth. In total, I want you to listen to this figure. In total, we have awarded contracts and broken ground on more than $1 billion in major capital projects. The list of under construction projects is long and covers all types of municipal infrastructure. Amongst other projects, we can look forward to the opening of the James Cowan Theatre redevelopment, the new community safety building, which will house our RCMP, long overdue, the new Cameron Community Centre and Library, the new Brentwood Community Centre, and the new Burnaby Lake Recreation Complex, which should have been likely replaced 25 years ago. We've already opened a lot of new facilities recently, including a new Fire Station 8 in March. That's the first permanent station on Burnaby Mountain, which specializes in wildland firefighting capabilities. It's also the second new fire hall in the last 2 years, both of which were completed on time, on budget. How many times do you hear that these days? Each of these projects will make a meaningful difference in the lives of Burnaby residents in the years and decades to come. Let me just say a bit more about the strategy behind all of this. These investments are big, and we have drawn down on historically high municipal reserves to make them. This is an intentional change in direction by the current council and an effort to correct for historic underinvestment. The principle behind it is that reserve funds are not an end in themselves, but should be put to the use for what they were intended and for what you were told all those years that they were intended for. And that we should invest now when growth demands it and before new infrastructure gets even more expensive to build. For every year that we wait on a capital project, inflation adds at least 7% to the ultimate cost. You can all add up those figures. At the same time, we're committed to prudent financial management and to maintaining reasonable tax increases in Burnaby. Increases that Burnaby residents and businesses expect. We were pleased to be able to once again keep this year's tax increase to a rate that's amongst the lowest in the region. So, a full-service city that is committed to and celebrates diversity and inclusion and makes prudent investments in the services its residents needs. I think that's a pretty compelling combination. I want to stress what an important partner the business community is to us in leveraging those advantages and in building an even better quality of life here in Burnaby. And with that in mind today, I'm announcing the pending formation of a mayor's task force on Burnaby's economic growth and resilience. This is in response to the accelerated pace of change and turmoil that I mentioned earlier in my remarks, and in particular to the potential impacts of tariffs and how ultimately they may net out, none of us know. And to that end, has anyone checked Truth Social in the last 20 minutes? We may all be at a completely different place the way things are going. We know that other levels of government are very much engaged on this issue. But municipalities must be as well, to ensure that responses and solutions take unique local circumstances into account, and that we have a fully comprehensive and cohesive Team Canada approach. We will announce a mandate and other details with respect to the task force soon, and we will recruit representatives of the local business community to serve in this task force and to help map out a Burnaby-specific economic strategy suited to these fast-changing and challenging times, as well as our future needs. I very much look forward to the process and these discussions. I'll wrap up here to allow a good amount of time for questions. So Burnaby, it's truly a place where you can be connected, truly a place you can be active, to be inspired, and most importantly, to be at home. As members of our valued business community, I thank you for making Burnaby your home and for all that you bring to our city. Please watch the BBurnaby campaign and help us to get the message out, and more information will come on the Mayor's Task Force. Again, thank you so much for being here and for the opportunity to be with you here today. And now I'm happy to have Angie come up and we'll take some questions. Thank you all.